very excited to be able to share with you the new developments of FootFall version 6 and the new capabilities and features available. In addition to this release of the software, we're planning to add the ability to fully integrate with SystmOne and EMIS in the coming weeks. This is a big release, packed with new features and enhancements that have been driven by feedback from our practices. These include a redesign of the dashboard, a card view, filters, a pinning tool, new worklists, patient verification, clinical system integration, clinical coded forms and text templates, global quick responses, enhanced reporting, and user access and local routing. I'll show you each of these new features as we go through the demonstration. Some of these features are administration features, so for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to be logged in as a dashboard administrator. The first thing you'll notice when you log into a version 6 dashboard is the improved dashboard design. This new efficient design supports the digital triage model and gives the user more control over what they want to see on their dashboard. Although the dashboard looks different, the concept is still the same. You have your patient request visible in a card style in the centre of the screen. And where you would usually see your menu items, we have introduced some new lists. You still have your familiar lists such as Worklist, which displays all episodes you have access to see. It displays episodes that have been assigned to you or your group, including any breach requests that you may have assigned or put in parked and waiting. Your parked and waiting lists are still available for holding requests for either internal or external purposes, as well as all open to give you the option to see all open requests that you have access to see in one place, whether the status is new, parked or waiting. And then you have the usual assigned summary and closed list here too. So what's new to your work list? New requests and new reply, which give you the ability to differentiate between patients' initial requests that have come into the dashboard for the first time and then any subsequent replies that have been received. The new request list displays episodes that have not been looked at yet or where a reply or status change has not been made. The new reply displays episodes a patient has replied to after a response from the practice. By separating these requests, FootFall helps you to prioritise your workload by easily identifying which are initial patient requests and which requests are ongoing online consultations. Then we have all breached. These requests can now be seen in one place. This list displays all open requests that have breached either by KPI time or alerts that have been set, again giving you another option to prioritise, keep track and take action on all breached episodes from one place. Assigned to Me shows you all of the open requests that have been assigned to you either individually or requests that have been assigned to a group that you are a member of. So if you wanted to prioritise the requests that you have been specifically assigned to, you can work on these from the Assigned to Me list. Assigned by Me shows you all open requests that you have assigned to other users or groups, so you can keep track of their progress and follow up where required. These additional lists separate requests, making it easier to keep track and shift resource onto the priority lists. The menu you're used to seeing on the left-hand panel is tucked away into a neat drop-down up here, where you can see your usual menu items. As well as the different list options, you have more choice and control of how you view patient requests on your dashboard. You have List View, like the current version of FootFall, which provides a simple list of all requests, displaying only the essential information available, including a snippet of the request here. As with previous versions of FootFall, you can open the request to make your usual status change, send a reply to the patient or assign the episode. Then you have Card View. This allows for quick triaging of patient requests to take place. From Card View, you're able to see a snapshot of the patient episode, which you can quickly preview using the eye icon, as well as change the status, priority and assign the episode to a user or group from the card without having to open each individual request. This doesn't stop you from opening the request if you need to, where you can perform your usual actions like sending a reply, leaving internal notes or exporting the episode. Card View is a huge advantage for practices and staff who triage patient requests, saving valuable time and improving efficiency. A feature that works alongside the card and list view is the new pinning tool. You can pin requests by clicking on the pin icon next to the card. Staff can pin episodes to show others in the practice the request is being worked on. You can pin requests to keep track of certain requests and have quick access to them. Once you've pinned the requests you want to work on, they will show at the top of the current list you are working on, even if you change lists. This is what a pinned request looks like for other users. It's highlighted in green, and you can see an avatar with the initials of the user that is working on it. If you're using Card View to quickly triage requests, you must pin the request first before you can perform any of the actions on the card. This is so that other users are notified that the request is being worked on and to avoid any conflicts. Whilst pinning shows you're working on the request to other practice staff, it does not lock the request to other users, so it can still be accessed by other staff if required. Once you've performed an action on a pin request, the episode is automatically unpinned. Another way to change what you're seeing is to use the filtering options at the top. Much like you would see on an online shopping website, you can use these filters to show specific requests. For example, if you were focusing on a specific request type, like the Get Help form, you can use these filters to show this request type only. You can filter this down even more to show you the requests by status, who it's assigned to, who it's assigned by, and alerts. If you're a PCN site using eHubs, you will have the option to filter by sites too. So far we've talked about how you can change what you can see on your dashboard to suit your needs as a user. The new lists, card and list view, the filters and pinning will enhance your user experience and support your practice to be more efficient. So what else is different? Let's go into a patient episode. Here you can see you have the familiar card to perform your actions, just as you would from Card View, by selecting the different options from the card. The patient form is in its usual place below with any notes, replies and images. At the top you see the reply, video and exporting options. And you can see this particular request has had quite a lot of activity. To help make it easier to see the information you need, you can collapse these panels to keep the episode compact and easily readable. The patient's history can be seen on the left. You can see any previously submitted episodes along with a breakdown of the episode history. And to the right is the patient's verified details. Patient's details are verified against the Personal Demographic Service, or PDS. With the release of version 6, we are including the mandatory input of date of birth, phone, email, as well as sex and postcode on all forms. These fields are required in order for the patient to be verified against the PDS, which will allow for the NHS number to be obtained. If the patient has been successfully verified, you'll see green ticks displayed along with the patient's registered practice details, so you can easily see if they are one of your patients. In cases where the patient hasn't been verified against the PDS, they can be manually verified and their NHS number copied and pasted into the episode. The verification will be a crucial step in order for the integration to work, which brings us on to the next feature, the clinical system integration. We have been able to successfully integrate with both SystmOne and EMIS. SystmOne Integration is available for the Leader client application that will be loaded onto your desktop. You will just need to be logged into the application for the integration to work. There is a separate video available which covers how to do this. We'll link it in the description of this video below. As part of your clinical system integration, your practice will also have access to clinically coded forms. These forms will be readily coded for you with SNOMED coding. So when you select to export to the clinical system, the coding that is attached to the form will display at the top of the text template. You'll also see a copy of the patient's responses or free text they have entered into the form, any notes that have been added to the episode by the practice staff, as well as any attachments the patient has included as part of their request. We know as important as it is to integrate with the clinical system, it's also important not to clutter the system with any unnecessary information. With this new custom text template, you're able to exclude and edit questions from the episode before it's exported, so that the information appears more readable in the clinical system. These toggle buttons help you to select what you want to export. You may choose to discard of internal notes or images, and you may want to remove some of the information that isn't relevant from the patient request. As well as removing the text, you can add text too. Once you have decided what information you want to export, you can send to the clinical system, and you'll be notified when the episode has exported. If we switch to the clinical system now, you can see the episode has successfully exported into SystmOne. Now let's go through some of the new options available to you as part of the clinical system integration. If we open up the menu, the features on here that remain very much the same as version 5 are patient forms, video consultation, library, KPIs and audit. Let's have a look at the new enhancements in form options first. As an administrator, I'm given some different options here. Selecting a form displays all of the requests in the dashboard relating to that particular form type, as with previous versions of FootFall. And you'll also see this is where you can select to edit your acknowledgement emails and quick responses. The new options available in here are clinical coding and text template, and these offer you some customization features when you're exporting the information to the clinical system. Let's start with clinical coding. Here you have a choice to edit the coding options that display in the text template when you choose to export to the clinical system. For instance, you might choose to turn off the sex of the patient, as this is information you already have. This will remove the option to export this to the clinical system from the text template. It will not remove the question from the form itself. When you select Edit, you're given the option to add, edit, or remove the clinical coding. This will all be populated for you when the clinical system integration is available. Text template gives you similar options. So here you're able to exclude certain questions from the request when it's exported, as well as being able to edit the question labels. This is so that questions can appear more readable in the clinical system. Another new feature here is global quick responses. And in here you can create responses that can be used when replying to a patient. These can be used across all form types. Particularly useful for building templates for common situations, such as informing the patient that they'll be contacted, to visit a pharmacist, or even when you're explaining that you're having high volumes of requests. Next we have reports. This feature has been much improved, with a brand new overview, giving administrators more visibility with a clear view of the current workflow into the dashboard. And this includes total requests in the queue, in progress, waiting and parked, the received requests, replies today, closed today, and the average closing rate per hour. Some additional reports included in this are request analysis, which shows the average requests per hour, weekday, week and month. You have form activity, which tells you the amount of forms that have been received and how they were submitted. Request source gives a comparison of requests received by patients, proxy or staff. Outcome analysis shows the quantity of requests closed with existing outcomes and analysis for each one of those users. Assign combinations gives you a detailed analysis of the quantity of assignments made by and to each one of the users. Video stats displays the amount of video consultations that have been closed with existing outcomes and analysis for each one of those users. Breach analysis tells you the details of requests that were closed or replied to on time and the ones that were breached. Age analysis, as with version 5, tells you the average age of patients that are submitting requests. Patient survey shows you what the patients would have done instead of submitting the form online. This is in response to the patient survey that is displayed after submitting a form. All of these reports can be analysed by custom time periods, request type and request source, so whether it's patient, proxy or a staff submission. Let's have a quick look at user access. This operates very much in the same way as version 5, but it has changed to fit in with the new design. Sticking with the card theme, each user has a card where actions can be performed, such as role changes, selecting group membership, form access, and disabling or enabling access. You can do all of this from the card rather than going into each user individually. For password management and to view the individual user activity, you can select the user. The last feature I'm going to show you is the new form routing option. Form routing gives you some additional options to be able to automatically triage forms when they're submitted from patients. With local routing, you can set up automated triaging within your dashboard. So whilst you can set up individual access to triage forms from user access, local routing provides a quicker way of setting or changing form triage within your practice by giving access to groups or users by form type. Here you're easily able to see where all forms are being triaged, and you have the option to choose groups or select users that you want to have access to a form type. Where green ticks are displayed or numbers in the user column, it means the forms are automatically triaged to these groups or users. With local routing, this could be changed instantly to help with resourcing and to quickly route certain types of forms to certain members of staff or groups to support the demand on the practice. For example, if you have a locum doctor or paramedic in the practice, you could route the Get Help form directly to these users or groups. The other options that you can see displayed here are only available to practices where the PCN or CCG have introduced eHubs. There is a separate video available to explain the eHub model and this particular feature available in version 6, which we'll link below in the description of the video. That brings us to the end of this video. We will be organising some Espresso webinar training sessions where you'll be able to top up your training and find out from other practices how they're implementing FootFall. Keep an eye on our Facebook community page and YouTube channel for more information on the version 6 release. Thank you for watching.